Hi, my name is Margaret Ingalls, and today's date is February 27th, 2021. Here is the piece of paper I'm going to be referencing during my talk today. I'm going to be talking about the integumentary system, which consists of our skin, our hair, some glands, and nails. So there are two major layers of the skin, the epidermis and the dermis. The epidermis is superficial, the dermis is deep to the epidermis. There are 5 layers, most commonly 4, but there are 5 layers within the epidermis itself. That first layer is which I'm going to talk about, is the most deep of the 5. It's the Stratum Cell. So that is the layer that connects to the basal lamina, and it has keratinocytes, Merkel cells, and melanocytes. The melanocytes give the skin the pigment. The Merkel cells add to touch and sensory receptors, and then the keratinocytes are just also the most common cell. And when the Stratum Cell cells go through mitosis, those are the cells that are being created. Next is the Stratum Spinosum, which, if you think of spiny, that's where this layer gets its name from. Is there's these tonnofibrils which create stability and support in this layer. And then you have the Stratum Granulosum, which there's all the cells in this layer secrete a substance that has a granule-like texture to it, and this provides the water-resistant effects of the skin. And then you have the Stratum lucidum, which is only found in the hands and the feet, and this is that like tougher layer on the skin and on our feet and our hands that we feel. Then finally, the Stratum Corneum is the most superficial layer of the skin, and these consist of dead cells, and these dead cells, none of the cells have a nucleus at this level. And these cells are usually here for about 2 weeks, and then they shed, and over time it takes cells about 2 to 4 weeks to go from the basal layer all the way up to the corneum layer. So that's the epidermis, so those 5 layers. And like I said, most areas of the skin only have 4 of the 5, and the one that the thin skin does not have is the Stratum lucidum. So then we go to the dermis. So the dermis is below the epidermis. The dermis has 2 layers within itself. The papillary layer, which consists of the dermal papilla, and then that layer provides connection to the Stratum Cell. So that papilla helps connect those layers. Then you have the reticular layer. This layer is deep, and it's more of dense, irregular connective tissue, and this layer contains the blood vessels, so arteries, veins, sensory receptors, so it has the nerves that create that sensation, so the skin is able to sense touch, heat, those kinds of things. And then there's also glands. The sebaceous glands and the sweat glands are located in this layer. Then deep to the dermis, we have the hypodermis, and the hypodermis is considered a part of the layer in skin in some anatomy classes, and some its own area. And this is important for connection of the epidermis and the dermis to then the layers below the hypodermis. So it's important for stabilization. This consists of connective tissue and then the adipose or fat tissue. And then finally, a clinical application in my future role. So I'm currently an athletic trainer. I would love to go to school to be a PA. In my current setting, I see a lot of wounds, scar tissue, and healing. And I've always found it fascinating how the skin can heal itself when it's cut open for surgery. And in my future role, I'm potentially interested in going into dermatology. So, looking at how, different, the skin can be penetrated by different pathogens and have viruses or bacteria that get into it and create cysts or viruses or other things on the skin. So maybe I'd be treating that. And I'm almost up for my time. So that is my discussion today on the integumentary system. Thank you.